Welcome to South Texas High School Baseball. I'm Javier Guzman. Today we're here with Marcus Zarate. We're going to talk a little bit of end of season, high school baseball. Just recap the Coastal Bend, South Texas area, and right after we'll have Coach Michael Perez talking some recruiting. So welcome to the show. We're here at Myra's Sports and More. I want to thank Sandra Morales and Myra's for letting us be out here today. And I know they're having a big old sale. I think they just transition to BSN Sports. So come out and support Myra's. They have retail sales going on. I know tomorrow's 50% off. So come out, and if you need any baseball stuff, softball stuff, apparel, they're having a huge sale.
Yeah, I'm kind of bummed. I'm going out of town for the next 8 days, so I'll miss the sale tomorrow.
Right.
I'll miss the 50% off, but
yeah, that's pretty good.
show support for Myers as they transition over to BSN. But we're happy to be here, and just happy to talk some closing thoughts on the season this year and what we can look forward to, and then we'll have a great interview for you guys right after. So
yes, sir.
What do we want to hit first?
Well, Marcus, so unfortunately, fortunately we did have two teams return from South Texas to the state tournament in Corpus Christi, London, and Sinton. Unfortunately they both lost in the state semis. Real tough ball games for both. The Sinton game was kind of crazy, extra innings. It was a hard fought game. Sinton had numerous chances, throughout the whole game, but it just shows you baseball, man. It's a tough sport, and hard to go back to the state tournament, and even harder to win back-to-back titles. So in talking about that, Sinton probably graduated one of their best senior deepest classes in a long time, with Blake Mitchell, Braden Brown, Jaquay Stewart, which are going to play at the next level. And then Mitchell, of course, he's at the draft combine right now in Phoenix, Arizona, getting ready to see if his name's called next month in the draft. So what was your take on it, on the information that, I know you didn't go to the game. I did see the game, and I was just, every inning I was like, man, this is the inning Sinton's going to do it. This is the inning.
Yeah, no.
And then they even had bases loaded, one out with Stewart up the bat, and it was kind of gut wrenching a little bit to see that they can come through. And usually, a team like that, you're just waiting. Oh man, they have it in the bag, right?
Yeah. I was in Northern California. That's why I couldn't be at the state tournament. Normally I go every year, but I had a work trip. So I was actually watching the game as I was driving in Northern California, and I was following. I think they looked a little off.
Right.
It wasn't their best game, and I'm right there with you. We were just kind of waiting for the breakthrough, right, and it just never came. There were some clutch hits, like 100%. I think it might have been the top of the 7th or 6th where Aiden Moody had a
7th, yes sir.
Yeah, top of the 7th, and he had that game tying double or something.
Right off the top of the wall, and that ball was almost gone. So.
So like clutch,
right?
To tie the game there. So the offense was there, but it wasn't the offense that we're used to seeing. Right. But I think that's expected at the state level. I think we just had such high and lofty expectations for them that we all just expected them to win, right? And there's nothing wrong with that. But,
no.
I think we just forgot about the possibility that they could lose.
Yeah.
They are beatable.
Yeah, and the team they played, which was China Spring, they were there the year before. Mm-hmm. So they were returning as well. And, they were hungry for their first state championship. Well, I think their first or second state championship. But either way, those guys played tough as nails, as Sinton did too. Like you said too, it just baseball. It happened, and like Coach Alanis summed it up too. The baseball gods just they weren't with us that day, and and like you said too in the interview, we had numerous chances. I was waiting for that one. Yeah. Even a sac fly would have worked. So,
exactly.
Yeah. So, but I mean, either way, you can't take nothing away from that program. 3 years in a row going to the state tournament, that's rare. It don't happen a lot. And just like in football, those now you're talking like the South Lake Carrolls and the those primetime programs and stuff. But I think Sinton coming back next year, I think they'll still be a pretty good team. I know they lose their, 3 main dudes, but I think they have a solid core coming back next year with Moody, and I think they have Rob Thomas. They have Marco Gonzalez coming back. Flores, that kid really did well in the regional final against Bernie. Man, caught those 2 games, that wild series with Bernie.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
but yeah, and you know, we'll talk a little more about Sinton for next year. But then you go to London. You know, I saw that game too. You know, and just right off the bat when they played, was it Wall? Right? Was it Wall?
Yeah, I think it was Wall.
Right.
Pretty sure it was.
So they want the pitcher for Wall, the first batter for London. The coach comes in and makes a quick change to a lefty.
Yeah, I remember that.
And it was like, whoa, that was like the coaching move of the game, right? But it looked like London never got anything going, hitting, and they made a few errors, mental errors too. And, you know, I think they had 3-4 base hits, and, you know, they did load the bases there in the later innings, but I think it was kind of too late. But then again, too, in London, same thing, what happened with Sinton, you know, we expected them, oh man, these guys, you know, they got pretty much the same team from last year. They're going to roll it over and win, but that wasn't the case. And I think baseball got them too. So yeah, I think both teams really. So
definitely. Yeah. And I think I remember I was watching the London game and I was flying back to Texas, and I was so invested I paid for the Wi-Fi on the flight. I never do that, but I wanted to watch the game, so I paid for Wi-Fi.
Right.
And I watched the Wall pitcher walk the first batter.
Right.
And there's not a replay or a rewind option on the stream, so I couldn't go back and see it. But from what it looked like, from what I saw, it looked like when that pitcher threw that 4th ball, it looked like his arm was hurting him, or at least something was off. It looked like, and I can relate because I pitched in high school, and like, you know, any little odd movement, you know.
I want to make sure it's Wall, but I mean, I think so, right?
Yeah.
I just want to make sure we're not giving wrong information. They're like, hey man, that's not what we played.
Yeah. But yeah, and I think the pitcher, I think his arm might have been bothering him after that, and I think
yes, it was Wall.
His coach might have caught on to that. Yeah. So if it were up to me, I would say that his arm was hurting him, and that's why he came out so quickly.
Right.
And I totally get it. But yeah, I think London definitely had their chance to score. They got runners on base.
Right.
I just think the offense wasn't there. State semifinal.
Right. Yeah, no, for sure. And in London, coming back for next year, man, they lose 2 seniors. You know, they bring pretty much back the whole team once again.
Yep.
And then they got Landon Salinas' younger brother coming up, Aiden, which we've heard verbally committed to Miami.
Yep.
So, I mean, and so I think London's going to use that as motivation big time and get back and, you know, to the state tournament again. And I really do think they will do that next year. They're going to have a chip on their shoulder for sure.
Definitely. And I think Region 4 next year at the 3A level won't be as strong.
Right.
I think the district opponents that London has will be pretty solid again, like they usually are.
Right.
But I think overall as a region, it'll probably come down to a 33A showdown.
Oh yeah, like the usual. Yes, sir.
So
and saying that, you know, I mean, either way, South Texas represented well with London and Sinton reaching the state tournament. And then we also had Ray with 4th round.
Yeah.
And then SGA regional final, 33A versus London.
SGA.
Santa Gertrudis.
Great season.
Yeah. So I mean, overall, still the baseball down here is still second to none. I think. Next year, I really do think we're gonna. I mean, I'm sure Vets was a pretty young team this year.
They were, yeah.
So
a little bit of a sleeper team.
Yeah.
Team full of nobodies.
Won the Big 12. So
yeah,
they beat Ray in the crossover.
That's right. Yeah.
So expect them to come back. You know, with Coach Yeager there, they're stable program. Ray. When we talked to Coach when we had the interview, remember he said they had a young stable of guys too.
They do.
The freshman, sophomore. So Ray will probably be back in the mix, and then you still got Sinton. I think Coach Alanis is, there's been a lot of talk if he's going to be moving on and, maybe the bigger things. But, to me, I really think he wants to be there next year to kind of prove, like, you know what, we got the program going. Yes, we graduated some major dudes, but I think he wants to be there next year to prove, hey, you know what, we can do. We still have a program and built a program good enough that we can still contend next year.
For sure.
You know,
for sure.
So and then of course we had a couple of Valley teams too that did pretty well.
Yeah.
Palmview, to name one of them, and then like you said, we had who was it? Skidmore.
The 2A
Perez, that usually don't, make deep runs. And then who do we have in the? I really do think there's going to be one. Cal Allen will be back here in the next year or two. So watch out for them next year.
I think TM will be interesting to see as well.
Right.
I don't really know much about them.
And of course, they're transitioning with the coach, Coach Moody. So this will be his second year. So he'll have more of a, of a stable environment going forward, right?
Yep.
And then
Robstown,
scrappy guys. And another team that went 4 rounds, and they were picked 5th in district.
Yep.
So
yeah, Robstown, man, I was really hoping that they would beat Bernie,
right?
Taking them to 3 games. So
that was awesome.
Robstown, great season.
Yep.
I'm sure that they'll be solid again next year as well.
Yeah, for sure. So I mean, we're still gonna 2024. A lot of I've been talking to some people like, well, South Texas, after a couple next year, whatever. I don't think so. I think it'll always be good competitive baseball here. And the Bishop had a good run too last year, unexpectedly moving up to 4A.
Yep.
And then I've heard talk in the next realignment they might move back down to 3A. So we'll see there, right? But I think overall we're still gonna look forward to some good baseball here next year, Marcus. Very excited to see what we have gonna go on. Like you said, we have some. Maybe we can get with Jose Trevino in the off season and talk to some major league guys, some college guys.
Yeah.
Maybe we get Blake Mitchell on here, talk about his experience, if he gets drafted and so forth, mix it up a little bit.
Yeah. And I think, on that topic of such a high profile guy like Blake Mitchell, he's still only, 18, 17 or 18?
Yes, sir.
So I think it would be interesting to get his perspective and share being his age, so young,
right,
with all this national spotlight,
right,
and I'm sure that there might even be a little bit of guilt, right, because you think Sinton, you think Blake Mitchell,
right,
but you forget that there's 8 other guys on the field, and so I think his perspective on how, sure, his name might be the most well known, but he still has to rely on his team.
No doubt, no doubt.
And I'm sure he'd give his teammates all the credit in the world for where they are, right? I think that it's just such a name we've heard so much because he's a great player. I think he's the best high school player I've ever seen come out of South Texas. I think the only other one that would rival that would be Courtney Hawkins back in 2012. Went 13th overall in that draft. So, yeah, I think getting a guy like that on would be cool just to hear that perspective.
Yeah.
But
you could tell he was frustrated. He had chances. Sinton had some runners on base. They walked him. As a baseball player, you're like, man, if I would have had that chance, I'm sure that was running through his head the whole time. You know. So, but of course, a good coach is gonna do what he's got to do to win a ball game, and they walked him 3 times in that game, and Sinton had runners at first and second twice. So, that's just part of coaching, right? But yeah, hopefully we can get Blake on here, and then I was doing a list the other day, Marcus, and I was just seeing how many South Texas players are competing at the next level.
Yeah.
Man, I couldn't even finish. I was like at 89 or 90. And of course, this is at my work, right? But I'm typing it up. And oh, I forgot this guy. And oh, I forgot this. I was like, we got so many guys from this area competing at the next level. And it's actually pretty amazing, right? And we got Jared Kelly. Jared Kelly's been doing very well. He's only 20, years old, 20 or 21. And he's in the high single A for the White Sox. Yeah,
I think he's moved to more of a reliever role.
Right.
I think that's what I've seen on
Twitter. The past 4 or 5 outings, he's done very well.
Yeah.
So, And then you got some Cal Imsoff, I think. Aaron Hernandez from Moody's in the Angels organization.
Yep, Double-A.
Jose Trevino, of course, with the Yankees. So we still, we got some guys at the MLB level. Been exciting to see where Blake Mitchell lands, like you said. And
Red Sox, fingers crossed.
Yeah, I heard the Red Sox are actually pretty heavy on them. So yeah, that'd be awesome, man. That'd be cool, right? Blake versus Jose Trevino maybe later on.
Oh, that'd be really cool.
But yeah, like I said, a lot to look forward to. When anybody says South Texas Coastal Bend, there's just so many guys, and sometimes Dustin Science.
Yeah, I've talked to Dustin
got up to Double-A.
Yeah,
so
he's been doing well, progressing quickly.
Yeah, for the Washington Nationals, came out of King High School right here in Corpus. Mm-hmm. He's been progressing well. So there's just so much talent, and I think I don't think the well will run dry. I think the well keeps running.
And I think if you look back like 4 or 5 years, I think at the time we were probably in another similar spot right now where it's like, who's the next batch of guys that's going to come along?
Right. And that'll be interesting.
And then the last, you look at the past 4 years, the Sinton guys, the Betts guys, those big names. So we're going to have those big names. We just don't know them yet because they're in 7th and 8th grade.
Right. No, you're right. You're right. Yeah. So that's what I'm saying. It'll be interesting. Who's the next guys, right? So,
exactly.
I mean, and, I coach a summer baseball team for Alice too. And, man, it's 108, 106 degrees out there. There's still teams playing baseball right now, grinding. Yep. Everybody's playing travel ball, and it's a big deal. So baseball never stops here. That's for sure.
Never. So yeah, we've got a lot of guys that we want to get lined up to have on and have a conversation with, and just pick their brain and just talk baseball with them. So stay tuned for that. Let us know what you guys want to. I want to give a quick shout out, or at least recognize from Sinton, Aiden Moody and his playoff performances, because he came in a Game 3 against the tough Davenport team, pitched that game. They obviously won that game to advance. Then he comes, I think that was the 4th round regional semis, 5th round after
crazy game.
After 2 games against Bernie, comes in and throws 6 2/3 in Game 3. Has some big hits. To just my MVP of the playoffs for them right there, just for his clutch performance. And I think he'll be a senior next year, so he's got 1 more year. He'll only get better, and then comes in. State semifinal, has those big hits to tie the game.
Yeah, so, and he pitched well too.
Exactly. No, he's a dog for sure.
Yeah, and like I said, I don't think Sinton's cup is not bare, man. I think they're going to come back with some dudes, and I think they'll show well again next year. And they have the experience, those guys, So, and then also Walker Janet, Portland.
Yep,
he's high on the radar for draft next year.
Oh, is he really?
Yeah, so right now he's playing in the Cape Cod League.
Okay.
So
that's a good league.
Yeah, so he's a real one to look out to for next year. He plays at Sam Houston.
Yep.
And Malachi Lott transferred to Sam Houston with him.
Did he really?
So old GP buddies.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah, so that's 2 more South Texas dudes, playing at the next level, showing out. And of course, you got the Dalen Pena at Texas Tech. Texas State. Sorry.
Yeah, he'll be a junior.
So he's probably on the draft radar too. Big bat right there.
Same with Xavier Perez.
Xavier
at Texas
Perez
State as well.
He was redshirted this year because of injury.
Yep.
So excited to see him play next year. So man, there's just so many guys we can. That Valdez kid from Ray had a real great season for UTSA.
Oh yeah, Antonio.
So they've been in talks too with some MLB teams. So man, there's a lot of. We could go on all day. So
seriously, yeah.
So like Marcus said, hopefully we start getting some college guys out here after their seasons and get on the show, talk some baseball, talk about the grind, the preparation that they have to get ready to for the long season. College baseball is y'all been watching the World Series, man. It's been a hell of a World Series this year.
Yeah.
The talent, you look up at the scoreboard, 101, 102 miles an hour. You're like, golly, this is what you see in the MLB, even better. So
yeah, no joke.
So I think anybody that just gets to play at any level, at the next level is blessed, and I'm sure I know myself, it takes a lot of work with my son too, and it's yeah, God made it give you talent, but you still got to work for it,
Definitely.
So it's not just a one day to the next day thing. So
for sure.
But you got anything else, Marcus?
I think last thing, if you're a parent or even a player watching this, send us to the South Texas High School baseball accounts on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, or if you're in the group on Facebook, send us the links to your highlights, to even if it's just one hit or one,
even summer ball,
yeah, anything.
Yeah.
The more you send us, the more exposure we can help get, because between the two of us, we know a lot of guys.
Yes.
Coaches, recruiting directors, stuff like that. So it doesn't hurt. It only takes a couple minutes. The clips that you see posted are what we've been sent.
Right.
So if you are wondering why your stuff's not out there, we haven't gotten it yet.
Yeah, no,
so we would love to share it. We just need you guys to send it to us, and we're more than happy to do that.
Yeah.
We might not do it right away just because we both have jobs, but
it'll be on there.
We'll get it up for sure.
Yeah.
We'll get it up.
Yeah, and I've been stressing this since this is what I got the South Texas High School baseball page for, was I'm not a recruiter, I'm not but this is just to give you a springboard for a player, and we're gonna have Coach Perez here coming up. He's gonna talk about recruiting and the do's and don'ts and stuff like that. But of course, how is a coach from anywhere gonna see you if you don't have no video, or they might not have time to come watch you at a showcase, stuff like that. They got lives too, right? So this puts you on the platform, puts you on the get seen. Hey man, that kid, I want to go see him next time, or he's like Marcus said, send us your videos, we'll post them, and that's a for sure. Doesn't take as long to do. So
exactly.
Yeah.
So I think with that, I'm good.
Yeah.
If you had anything else?
No. Once again, I want to thank y'all for tuning in. This is just kind of a little wrap on our South Texas Coastal Bend high school season. Of course, we talked a little bit of college guys too. If we left anybody out, hey man, I know there's like 90, 100 of y'all playing, but of course we wish we can announce everybody and get everybody recognized. But we know who y'all are, and we try to follow as much as possible, and anytime we see anything good, we post it, we retweet it, we post on Instagram. We got you covered, man. So once again, want to thank Sandra Morales for hosting us here today. Like I said, they're having a big retail sale. Come out and support the Myers. They're now BSN Sports, and tomorrow they'll have 50% off. So
and I'm going to try to have this episode up by tomorrow, which is the day the sale starts.
Okay.
So hopefully when you watch this, the sale will still be going on.
Yeah, for sure. Let's see what'll be left.
Yeah, exactly.
When it comes to baseball, softball stuff, everybody will come. So so we're going to take a short break, and we're going to get Coach Michael Perez on here to talk some recruiting. This is also very informative information if you're a player, even for parents. If your kid wants to compete at the next level, your player, this will be good to watch, guys. So I want to thank you once again. Marcus?
Cool. I'm good. Thanks, guys.
All right. Thank you all for tuning in. We'll see you next time. All right, welcome back to South Texas High School baseball. We're here at Myra Sports and More. I want to thank Sandra Morales once again and Myra's for hosting us here today. We kind of got through the first part, recapping the South Texas High School baseball season. So now we're with Coach Recruiting Advisor Michael Perez.
Yes.
From San Antonio, Texas. He is the co-founder, right?
Yes.
Of Texas Grad there in San Antonio. So he's going to explain to you some of the recruiting process, some recruiting rules, parents and players. This is something that you might want to tune in and hear, and like I said, we don't know everything. This guy knows it like the back of his hand. So once again, welcome to the show, Coach. Introduce yourself. What's your occupation, and how long you've been doing this post grad, and tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, well, I'm a St. Mary's alumni. I was recruited from John Jay High School to be a shortstop for Coach Charlie Meagle. I played my 4 years of college baseball there, have my bachelor's degree in business and marketing, and have been coaching on and off ever since I left St. Mary's University. I found a desire to coach because I love the game. I like to mentor. And so the evolution of where I'm at now came through a number of different things. coach high school baseball, of course, but then found out that there was some really heavy recruiting needs that were needed not only for the guys that I was helping, but several teams that surrounded our school. And so when I left coaching from a full-time position, I recognized how much of a need there was from a literacy point of view, from who's going to fund the education, how do we get exposure, what kind of exposure do we need, when do I show my son, when is it time to put the glove down, do I choose academics over athletics, is going out of state something that we should consider, and all these things that started to unfold with parents that had a lot of questions on all those topics. And so I started doing my research and started learning how to do recruiting videos. And it was in the beginning of doing recruiting videos that began a recruiting career for me for South Texas. There was a lady that I met that had paid a lot of money to get a recruiting video done. And when I realized how much she had paid, I felt like she had really been cheated. And I decided that I was going to do a recruiting video for her son at no cost, just so I can learn the process. And so it was a young man who was a left-handed pitcher out of O'Connor High School, and decided I was going to do my first recruiting video for him. In the meantime, I had already been coordinating evaluation camps to build relationships with college coaches, and would do annual all-star games for our city of San Antonio so that we can help guys that were uncommitted get more exposure than they normally would just through a regular baseball season. So it was this unfolding of serving that I realized that I had learned how to develop a good recruiting video. And I found how effective it was in sending those recruiting videos out to coaches I already had a relationship with. And when they explained to me exactly what they wanted to see in a recruiting video, I did exactly what they told me. And so our success rate for bringing athletes in and doing a skills or recruiting video started getting more and more and more, and our YouTube channel started getting more popular and more popular. I realized that we had a really good understanding of what college coaches wanted, what players need, and what parents need. So that's kind of the journey of on the recruiting side, and how I became a recruiter overnight. Not even wanting to, but just following the trail of meeting the gap. What is the gap?
And you know, even down here in South Texas, you know, it was a struggle because we really don't have much of that either until they started bringing the showcase camps and, you know, so forth, like what you're doing today, So, and you know, there's a lot of good players from that area and down here, so they get overlooked, you know. So.
I'm telling you, Texas is a baseball state.
For sure.
And what I love about the game of baseball is that it has nothing to do with the size of the young man.
And that's what helps us.
It's a condition of the heart, and then you have to be you have to master the skill of the position that you're in.
Yes, for sure.
And so there is definitely the grind to master the skill, but then when you've mastered the skill, how do you showcase that? And back in the day, it was said that if you're good, they'll find you. I don't believe that. I don't believe that anymore. Only because people will know of you, but if they haven't seen you, that's a whole nother conversation.
They got to see. They've got to see. I mean, you can see in the video, but video to life it's like TV too. You know, oh man, that guy's fast. But when you go see it in person, oh man, he's really fast. You know, So starting off the podcast, Coach, about recruiting and so forth. So what's the number one thing if let's say somebody wants to be, you know what, I'm a junior, I'm going to be a senior, or I'm a senior finishing high school, what's the number one? Of course, academics has to be number one on the list, I mean, I'm sure for bigger platforms or so forth. So, and I know the scholarships are limited. They're not like football and basketball, and you know, a lot of I was also in that, oh yeah, you get 100% scholarship. I don't think there's many of that in baseball, So what's the number one thing that you have to stress, or what you recommend that a player parent know right off the bat before you know, I want to play college baseball? So what's the number one?
Well, the college coaches will see tons of talent. Like today, we're here at Carroll High School. There's 8 college coaches here, and a lot of guys will look exactly exactly the same in terms of velo, velocity, speed. All of them kind of look the same. A lot of them look alike. And so, you know, you've got to pass the eye test. What does that mean? What is the eye test, right? It's does your body show that you've been doing the work?
For sure.
Do you have the core? Do you look like a college baseball player? And it's unfortunate.
The eye test.
They've got to pass the eye test, right? And so, because men are visual, we're going to look to see if he passes the eye. And if he does, then I'm going to focus on, is there one of the skills that he has that is a college level skill?
Like they say, the 5 tool.
So the term 5 tool is all over these tournaments they have all over South Texas. But what does 5 tool mean, So the tools, the 5 tools, hitting for average, hitting for power. Does he have a very good mastery of his defensive skills? Can he run? Does he have speed? And then what is his arm velocity? So coaches are looking for guys that have more than one tool. If they pass the eye test and they have more than one tool, that's a plus tool. Let's say you have a center fielder that can run, but he's got an arm, he's got a velo that measures 85 and above. Because those are just numbers. Those are numbers. Those are starting thresholds that college coaches are looking for, because on their roster they have guys that are 85 plus.
And a bunch of them.
And they may have 9 outfielders that are 85 plus. 89, 90, 91, 92. That's what they see all day long. And then they come out to a high school camp and they see a whole bunch of guys that are 83, 84. Well, that's not going to tickle their ears because they don't meet the threshold. Now, if he comes to the plate and he hits the ball well, does that change the coach's perspective on him? It does. Because if you hit, you don't sit. So college, so college coaches are looking for some college level tools, and sometimes guys are not in a position to showcase. They shouldn't showcase, because sometimes you shouldn't show your areas of weakness, So, and the thing to remember is every athlete's different. Because I ask parents, parents ask me, so coach, when do I showcase my son? When do I showcase my son? I said, well, let me give you some measurables, and if he doesn't come close to the measurables, it's better that he just get in the weight room, become a gym rat, and then learn to take those strengths and translate them into baseball productivity, So it's different for every athlete, and that's why it's a hard thing to answer. And it's like, it's like the same thing, when parents ask, should we play summer ball? Should we do showcase? Well, I mean, I think everything's gonna help regardless. But like you say, if he's not strong enough, or he's not fast enough, and he don't have any of the tools, or doesn't have the tools that it's a strength, it's gonna be hard for them. Period. Now, some have the love for the game, like you said, and the heart, which is also a plus. Of course it is.
And there might be, there's tons of colleges in the whole U.S. So somebody eventually is gonna take a chance on you. Now, it just, to get the chance, like you said, you got to have some tools.
And one of the things that has been pushed more and more is content exposure on the video side.
So going forward, coach, that's the next question I was going to ask you. So on a Twitter basis, video basis, is like I tell some of the guys, the Twitter, they're always watching, but the more you put out of baseball in your videos, it's not a bad thing, because that's the more they get to see if you're consistent and seeing it, if the coaches can see that you're being consistent doing what you do good, right?
Yes. Now, my question to some of the parents, obviously we're not going to get an answer, is if I were to Google your son's name and his high school, would I be able to find him? What would I find if I were to Google your son's name and his position and his high school? Is there any content? So if I'm here at an evaluation camp, because we're recruiting for our program, but if I put in his name and his high school and I did a search, would I find any content on him? Would I see any video? And the answer is no. Then you need to get to work, and you need to bring your son by your side to ensure that he's a part of the process, because you're not the recruiter for your son. So we have to learn to transfer responsibility to the young man, so he starts taking accountability for his work. But I will tell you that Twitter is the #1 platform for college coaches. So everybody that does not have a Twitter account that is playing high school baseball right now should get a Twitter account. The other 2 platforms platforms. There's two recruiting platforms that are in the industry. One is called Field Level.
Oh, yeah.
Like you're leveling the field,
Yes.
Field Level.
Yes, sir.
The other is called NCSA.
Right.
Now, I prefer Field Level. I've used that service for more than 10 years, and so my database of college coaches is very deep because I've been very consistent with it, making sure that I'm making contacts with college coaches, because college coaches change jobs pretty quickly.
Pretty quickly, yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I mean, just in San Antonio alone, there's 3 head coaches, well, within the area that are no longer there.
Right.
So if you think you have an inside track and all of a sudden they're gone, you know, you don't want to have to start all over again.
Right.
But the point is, Field Level is they have a free platform, and NCSA, I believe, has a free platform as well.
Right.
I prefer Field Level, but that's just a personal preference.
Right. Yes.
Remember, there's 2 kinds of video. There's game footage, right?
Right.
And then there's skills video. A skills video is different.
Right.
A skills video is the most widely watched video in a college coach's account.
Okay.
If he's going to look at your profile, if he sees a skills video, he's going to watch that, because in the skills video, if it's done right, you'll get a glimpse of multiple cuts with multiple angles,
right,
with a slow motion piece,
right,
and then you'll get multiple reps, multiple angles on the defensive side, right? So he can see all of your skill set, all of your athleticism under the skills video category. So on the Field Level account, it'll say game footage or skills video. You'll be able to click one or the other. So parents that have this massive amount of video in their phone have nowhere to put it.
Right.
And it's good that you have memories.
Got to buy more storage.
Yeah, exactly. But all of that video that's sitting in there is being wasted if it's not plugged into a platform, right? So I would recommend parents get a Field Level account, or have their son get a Field Level account. And I have guys that I'm actually recruiting on my roster that are then, once they create their account, are connected to the college coaches that I have, and then I start driving them into the network of college coaches that I have to help these guys get recruited. So guys that are sophomores, juniors, and seniors, I've got several on my list, because I've decided as a coach, based on my skill set, that they are ready to show. There are some guys that I'll tell parents are not ready to show.
I got you.
Like, don't waste your time and money right now. Well, wait until next year.
Yeah, you might as well tell them now.
Yeah, because I mean, if I'm trying to send a young man to a coach that's going to help him win a conference championship, I'm not trying to force a kid in a program that doesn't fit. Right.
So academics, for sure.
I will tell you this: there is no academic money that's available to athletes under a 3.0.
There you go.
Right. There is none. Okay. Academically. So there's 8 levels of college baseball. And a lot of people don't, what are the 8 levels, right? So the 8 levels are, there's Division 1 for your school, there's Division 2, there's Division 3 for your school. And you've got NAIA, right? And then you have NCCSA, NCCAA, and then you have Division 1 JUCO, Division 2 JUCO, Division 3 JUCO. And now there's post-grad. All right. So actually, there's 9 levels of college baseball, and each of those levels have different ways to fund.
I got you.
They have,
I noticed that the NIA and the smaller, they have the academically covers more of their scholarship.
Yes, and one of the things to remember is that Division 1 has so many scholarships that they divide among so many players. Division 2 has a smaller number of scholarships that they divide among players. And NAI, they have scholarships too. So at the Division 3 level, there is no athletic scholarship.
It's all grants.
It's all academic money. So for example, if I were to go to Shriner University, which is a really good school in the Hill Country, they can't offer me any athletic scholarship because they're classified as a Division 3 university. But what they're going to ask me is, what is my GPA? First thing, because they want to know how much money are they going to use to attract me, because my GPA is a good GPA. If I don't have a good GPA, my parents are going to have to pay more money out of their pocket. And so that leads to another really important topic, which is the FAFSA. So the FAFSA is an acronym for Free Application for Federal Student Aid. Okay, and when you report your income to the government and you use the FAFSA document, it'll generate a report to tell you how much money your son qualifies in low interest loans. Because you're not going to pay for his education. My dad said, you want to go to school? I said, yeah. I said, okay, well, when you figure out how you're going to pay for it, let me know. I said, okay. I don't know how this works, man. But the financial aid, the FAFSA, the free application for federal student aid, is a really important piece. It helps parents determine how much low interest loans their son can get to help fund their college education, right? And if your income is up here, then you may not qualify for any financial aid, because the expectation is because you make this much money, you should be able to pay for it, right? That's the way it works. But everybody that's a graduating senior, you have to have done your FAFSA, because that tells you
it's part of the
process. Because when I'm on the field with college coaches, they'll say, "What's his GPA?" and "Do you know if he's done his financial aid?" There you go. That's it. Yeah. Why? Because they know that if I don't have to offer him scholarship money because the loans are going to cover it. Come on. Then I like him. Yeah. If I don't have to put any money on the table, but I can get him because financial aid covers.
It's only a plus for them.
Of course. Yeah. Then you are more attractive because you got your FAFSA stuff in order.
I got you.
And one of the things that's important is when you fill out the FAFSA, it will ask you which schools do you want to receive this report.
Right.
And you can put up to 10 schools in that report.
Right.
The challenge is the young man doesn't know who wants him.
Right, exactly.
So the parents are like, "Hey, where do we send this?" And he's like, "I don't know. I don't know who wants me."
Right.
So it is a process that takes work. It takes work to get these guys. Get these guys recruited.
So coach, so how important is the games? Okay. Being played. Yeah. And so forth. You know, summer leagues, showcases, from the skills to games. What drives it more? You know, for college.
Yeah, and that's a.
Of course, because, you know, it to me, it's like, well, you know, you can have the awesome set skill, but can you do it in the game, right? But I mean, baseball's a hard sport. You're not gonna, like you say, you know, if you're successful 3 out of 10 times, you're good, right?
Yeah, and most of these guys are coming off a spring season, right? And guys that got a lot of playing time, they need rest, man. Okay. They're gonna need some rest. So there are some guys that got lots of playing time that may go into a development stage for a short season and get some reps without feeling pressed to play all summer long. But some guys that didn't get any playing time are more likely to go, "Hey man, I need to get my reps in because I didn't get it during the year." Gotcha. And so one of the things that's important is to make sure that the summer is a time to recover. I mean, because your body comes off of 50 games or 40 games in the spring, and starters really need to take their body into consideration. Matter of fact, some of these summer leagues, college coaches will tell the summer leagues, "My pitchers, I want you to limit them to a number of pitches per week." Right? Because in the beginning, there wasn't a lot of oversight and pitchers were coming off, getting more sore, getting a little tender in the elbow when summer league wasn't doing anything for them, but maybe jeopardizing the fall that's around the corner. But playing is important, but I would say, in particular to the younger players, sometimes the summer should be for just development and hitting the weight room.
There you go.
And that's the untraditional route, because you have the system pulling you in, right?
And there's a bunch.
And for sure, I get it. No, and exposure is important. But if he's a sophomore and he weighs 120, or he weighs 130,
that even you know, injury wise, I can, you know, if you keep playing.
Yes, for sure. And you've got to pass the eye test when you're a junior.
For sure.
Yeah. And now there's new rulings by the NCAA that doesn't allow, that restricts D1 coaches from talking to players until they're August
of junior.
Yes. Of their junior year.
I think that helps a little bit, because really, you know, unless you get a generational player, you know, like some of these guys or whatever, I think that's a good spot to start, right? So
yeah, no, for sure. The other thing I want to say is that go where you're wanted. That's really important. You know, if you have a logo and a brand stuck in your head and your mom went to A&M Kingsville and you're like, "I want to go to A&M Kingsville," and if that's your mental connection, that's not enough, man, because Texas A&M Kingsville is a Division II school and we're in Texas, right? So we're a great baseball state, and the likelihood, of course it happens, but the likelihood of anybody going to Texas A&M Kingsville is pretty low. I mean, you look at the numbers, right? So the numbers say that 93% of all high school baseball players will never play baseball again.
Right.
That's it.
Yeah.
So anybody that's graduating right now, that's a 2023 that's uncommitted, there is a new opportunity in San Antonio through our organization. We can talk about that later.
Right.
But the likelihood of getting picked up at a D2 school as a 2023 guy is incredibly small.
Right. Especially right now, you already have the summer's gone. And,
you have to. I mean, we're mid-June.
So what are you going to tell 2023 right now? You know, he's trying to get into somewhere. You know, you only got so many days or weeks left, and what are you going to tell him right now? You know, what to do? What's his best option?
Yeah, well, you have about 30 days left.
Okay.
Right, and the door is closing on the recruiting side because they're looking at 2024s and beyond.
Right.
We've been at the field right here with Texas A&M Kingsville, UH,
right.
Our Lady of the Lake, and they're like, we're done with 2023s unless he is just dude on the mound.
Right. And that's usually what they...
Right. They're here looking for arms.
Yeah,
they're looking for arms.
Right.
I would tell them, if they don't know about our program, Texas Reds Post-Grad is a new program for South Texas. We have...
Third year, right?
I'm sorry?
Y'all are in your
This is our third year as an organization. We recruit players like a college and a university does to our team. Our players go to school on a part-time basis.
Online.
Out of any school that they choose to.
Okay.
Our organization is out of San Antonio.
Right.
Our practice field, our hitting facility, our weight program is out of San Antonio. So we're going to put these guys through a strength and conditioning program in the fall, identical to a college baseball program.
Right.
And then we have 20 games in the fall and we have 30 games in the spring.
Yeah.
And so we're actively recruiting college-ready, uncommitted 2023s right now. That's why we're here in Corpus.
Right.
And we're trying to create some more awareness because we know that there's players out there that are legit college baseball players.
Right.
We just haven't made the connection yet.
And it's not a bad thing, like, you know, which I see you post all the time. You know, you don't lose a year eligibility. And you already started school.
Right.
And then it's a springboard to get you ready for the next level.
And those are very true statements. So guys in our program will go to school part-time. They'll learn the priorities of managing their classwork and a full college baseball schedule.
Right.
They can keep their athletic eligibility, live out of San Antonio, whether they have their own housing or they match up with another guy that's committed to our program.
Right.
And you keep your athletic eligibility and you get a chance to build your GPA up. And a lot of times we're dealing with guys who got recruited and then got redshirted. So we've got red shirts on our squad that were fired up that they got recruited and walked into a situation where the rosters are incredibly deep.
Right.
And they're like, man, I was not expecting this.
And so you got good ball players. Yeah,
we do. And we, on our schedule, we have Saw State, Our Lady of the Lake, Coastal Bend, TLU, Shriner, Eastfield Junior College up in the Dallas area, Ranger. I mean, we're playing the best programs in Texas.
Right.
And we're celebrating our 25th win as an organization, so we don't go to get beat. The guys that we recruit
and then at the same time, like that coach, you're playing against a St. Edwards or a Ranger, whatever. That coach might see something in one of those players,
And that's an important piece because playing college baseball, collegiate baseball, is a part of it.
Yeah.
So once the summer ends, where are you going to play college baseball if you're not recruited? That doesn't exist in South Texas except for Texas Reds Post-Grad out of San Antonio.
So let's say he went the first year, he didn't get picked up, but does he get to come back again, or is it a 1 year trial?
Our program is designed to get you out after the first semester. Right. Because you're going to get bigger, faster, stronger. You're going to get 20 games under your belt in the fall.
Right.
And in between December and January, there's a big recruiting need for coaches that realize after they recruited and redshirted everybody, we have some needs.
We've got some holes.
Right. So we have guys that have been recruited after the fall, and some guys that said, even though I was recruited, now that I know I'm getting better, I'm going to work through the spring because I have that commitment in my pocket now. Let me see what comes out of the spring now that we play another 30 games with universities we didn't play in the fall. So college exposure is important. And of course, we do our part to make sure that whatever skills we've developed on the recruiting side,
Get 'em out.
that they're available.
Right. Gotcha.
So if we don't get them out in the fall, we're going to get them out in the spring. And if you go to our website and you look at player commitments, you'll see a list of all the guys that came through the program that are in their programs right now.
Awesome.
So it's a really cool.
So on your successful rate, what is more or less?
90% of all the players that have been in the program have received an offer.
Wow.
Right. Whether or not they took that offer is completely up to them.
But still,
but we found college coaches that love our model and love South Texas because they know that there's a lot of players that are overlooked and just need more exposure.
And it's like they say, I mean, I've heard it from tons of coaches, South Texas kids work hard, right? So
that's, and there's so many ball players. And the thing I tell the guys is just because you're not recruited doesn't mean you're not a college baseball player. It just means that there's no more roster spots.
Exactly. So what's a don't, coach? What's a don't?
Yeah.
What's a big no-no?
You know, here's a big no-no. Never lie about your abilities. Velo, 86. We get you out there. Velo, 81. Okay, you're lying.
Right.
Don't ever lie. The other thing is I tell parents, don't ever act like don't impersonate your son communicating to a college coach. Some parents will write the email, they'll send it, the coach will respond, the parent will respond. On social media, Twitter, right? Hey, I like, whatever, what's your number, what's your schedule? Oh, I play here, I play there. And the coach realizes I'm not talking to a player.
I got you.
What that means, I immediately drop them, because if you're going to impersonate your son, then you're trying to do things for them that are their responsibility. Right. I'm out.
And they want to, and you want to hear from the player that,
if you think you're talking to a player and you're talking to a parent, it's kind of offensive. Like, I think I'm talking, somebody's acting like they're somebody they're not. So the do's and don'ts, don't ever speak on behalf of your children. Make them write, they're adults, so make them write their own emails. If there's any activity on social media, make sure that they respond. Don'ts, there should be nothing on any of your social media dishonors you, your family, your coach, your
program
at all. There should be absolutely nothing. And I'll tell you this, when a coach pulls up video and he hears illicit music, sexual content, I don't care if you like that song or not, you need to scratch that ASAP. Because I was talking to A&M Kingsville and he says, if your values, this is talking to the guys, the recruits on Saturday, if your values don't line up with mine, I'm not going to recruit you. And I would never put that kind of music over something that is connected to my name. I'm not going to do it. He goes, so you're not going to bring that into our house. So another don't is, and parents have told their children and their young men over and over again, but it's a serious matter. And I told young men that are in our program, if I see anything, I'll call you directly. You got 24 hours to remove it. If you don't remove it, I call your dad immediately. And if you don't listen to your dad, then we're going to have to take you out of the program, because it's just not, right? And so these guys need to know they're stepping into programs that are just like that. And if it's a very serious matter. So
there you go, guys. There's some important information right there, and from a college recruiter. So what else you got, Coach?
I want to say, one of the things that parents don't understand, they think that junior college baseball is less baseball, because the word junior is in it, right? Oh, we'll just go to a junior college. What they don't understand, that guys that want to get drafted, that don't want to go to a 4-year school, go to a junior college so they can get drafted, right?
And there's been a bunch of them.
And what they don't know is that a junior college, you have 20, 21, 22, 23-year-old men playing junior college baseball, because there's no age limit. On who can play college baseball, and especially when it comes to junior college baseball.
There you go.
So when you're walking into a situation where, you've got 6 shortstops in front of you, that's just standard. You've got to work through that mentally. So if you don't think your son can handle that kind of pressure, then it's not less baseball in junior college. It's actually more baseball.
No, it is. I've seen it firsthand, guys. It's actually a tough level, really. It's more of a grind.
It is. No, it is, because you're not going to get all the resources and all the emotional support. That's not what happens. You have men fighting for jobs. And that's what it is. And these guys, don't know yet until they get there that these men are fighting for jobs.
Right.
And you're not going to take it from them unless you outwork them and outproduce them.
That's for sure.
The other thing I'll say is, and I mentioned this before, but this is probably one of the most important things, is that if you're genuinely praying for God to give you direction, and God opens a door in Minnesota, don't say no.
Right. Yeah.
Or it's in Kansas.
Yeah.
Don't say no, because it's not your future; it's their future,
and it's a chance.
And if you allow fear to dictate your decision, then you're getting in the way.
Right.
You're getting in the way. A quick story, my daughter got an offer in California to play volleyball. And I told her, we're going for the picture. We're going to take the Instagram picture. We're going to get some sushi. We're going to say hi, palm trees, and then we're out of there, right? So I learned the hard lesson, because we flew in, and I said, Lord, if this is where you want her, it's going to have to be your decision, because I don't want her here.
Yeah.
I'm not going to leave my daughter in California.
Yeah.
The very next morning, she got up and she says, Dad, I really feel in my heart God wants me to be here. And so we called Mom. Mom said it was okay. And I was like, oh my gosh. So she signed to play college volleyball in Pasadena, California, when I decided that we were not going to do that. But I wanted to yield to what I really believe God wanted us to do. But I said no, right? That's too far.
Yeah.
And so the whole concept of too far, I think parents need to take out of the equation now, because if you're genuinely praying for direction and God opens a door in North Carolina,
it's for a reason.
Right. But the boys need to be encouraged to go that way.
Right.
Not that's too far, because it's really not about you.
Yeah, and if you really love, the game, you want to play it, there's a shot. That's your only offer. Well,
yes. One of the things that parents don't know is, as every year there's baseball programs that are being launched by universities for the first time.
Oh yeah.
Right. Yeah. Now we all know Kingsville. We all know.
Yeah, there was one in Houston that tried.
There was one that started,
and then it
after
the fall.
It didn't make it. But there's several that have.
Yeah.
And when my daughter went to California, they were launching their volleyball program for the very first time.
Oh wow.
Right. And so, I didn't know that UTRGV doesn't have softball.
No.
You're like, wait a minute.
And Valley's loaded with softball.
How can it? So when they launch it, there's going to be a rush, right?
It's like football. They just got football.
Yes. So I think when parents know that there's colleges throughout the country that are launching their baseball program for the first time, you have to be willing to be open to those opportunities, because it may be the only opportunity your son has.
Right.
And you shouldn't get in the way of that.
Right.
And I think that's an important thing for parents to remember.
So one last question, Coach.
Yes, sir.
Before appearance, generation, of course.
Okay.
It's changed so much. I mean, a lot. I see it just, with everybody, kids, and where I coach and stuff. How much does a parents go? So you show up to the field, you're in Crocs, or you're in dudes, or you're in shorts, and back then it was like, man, you got to the game, you're ready. You got your baseball pants, So what I know, a lot of the kids have so style now and this and that. So last thing, let me know what do coaches think about their parents when they show up on the field?
Yeah, no, it's most coaches that are highly successful, right, have a very, very clear direction for what they want their players to look like. Right. And so they're looking to see if you even look like us. Right. And so some of the no-nos are earrings, right? You won't find many college coaches that wear earrings on a regular basis. Right. So when they see somebody who's wearing earrings, this is just their take. This is black and white. This is it. This is it.
There you go, guys. Look,
right? No, and here's the thing: is that we're not passing judgment on him.
No, of course not.
All we're saying is it's not something that he's attracted to.
Right.
It actually becomes a distraction.
I got you.
For most college coaches, and typically the old traditional, the OGs. The OGs are going to say, you better be lights out, because I don't like it.
Yeah, exactly. That's first turn off.
I don't like it, right? And the other thing, to your point, they want players to come dressed. right? If parents are handing them drinks, I know if parents are close to the dugout and the parents are talking to the players,
they should have all that.
All of that, all of that are signs that that's not a healthy situation.
Right.
These guys are making decisions for their future. They're learning to be men,
right,
and they have to be held accountable that way. Always have your shirt tucked in.
Right.
Don't ever untuck your shirt or take your shirt off. You know, make sure your uniform's washed. Like all these things. It's presentation. You're going for an interview, and I tell these guys, you're interviewing every single day.
It's like for a work, job.
That's your job, and a lot of guys don't understand that it is truly a job at the next level.
Right.
You love it, but there's days you don't want anything to.
Right.
You don't want to.
It's like everything else.
You don't want to.
Yep.
But you are interviewing every single day. You never know who's watching.
Right.
And some guys don't know who I am or who I know, and they don't know that I've got these college coaches that are asking me, "Hey, coach, I need a shortstop."
Right.
And I'm looking, and I'm like, "Hey, no." Right. I'm listening to F-bombs come out of your mouth every 2 words, and I'm standing right next to you. This is the thing. This is one of the things I thought was really interesting. Is that we weren't allowed to cuss at home, right? I didn't even think about it. I mean, we said shut up, we got in trouble, right? But big no-no for most successful college coaches is a foul mouth.
There you go.
Foul mouth. You're dropping F-bombs. You're standing right next to me.
Right.
And you don't even recognize.
Yeah, well, you're not respecting in the first place.
Right. So if you can't see that.
Yeah.
Then it doesn't mean I scratch you. It just means that I'm going to have to look harder.
Right.
And you don't want to have to make me look harder.
Right.
Because I don't have to.
Yeah.
I've got 10 of you that want to come to my program. And so some of the don'ts, which they don't think about very often, is what comes out of your mouth.
Yeah.
And I think you should be able to articulate as a man whatever you're thinking.
Right.
If you can't, it doesn't mean you have to curse everything,
right? No,
just to express a point.
You can do something else. Besides
of course. You can just think through a situation,
or hit yourself in the head with a bat or something.
Yeah, no, for sure.
No, well, I mean that's good information. That's why we brought you on here, and I thought it would be a great idea. And I mean, some players do know the ropes, some don't. Some parents are clueless. So this is good information for everybody that wants their player to play at the next level. And of course, Texas post grad too, third year in the making already. So not a bad thing to play that level of ball either. So there's a bunch of opportunities. Just got to take advantage of them and just do your best, right? So
yeah, and that's what we're here for. We're looking to develop men, to give them another semester or two of college on a part-time basis to play a full college schedule, and we're going to do our part to get them out on the back end. The success rate is really high, and guys that don't have a plan, if they don't hit the ground running in the fall, most of them will not finish.
Right.
And that's not something that we're excited about.
And academically as well,
Sure.
If you're playing baseball, you're going to school, So, Marcus, you got anything? No?
Hope we're not going too long, man.
No.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
So, I mean, Coach, anything else? I mean, I think we covered pretty much.
Yeah, no, we did. We've got a combine that's scheduled for July the 12th in Seguin. And if you go to our website, txrpostgrad.com, on our front page, it'll have the details of that.
I did see that.
And then we'll share it on your page.
Right.
But we're going to have 10 to 15 college coaches there. There's a few pro scouts that are coming.
Okay.
We're fired up about that. We're trying to reach the guys that are in the transfer portal right now. We didn't cover that at all. But,
that's right.
But that's okay.
That's a hot deal now.
We'll cover that some other time.
Yeah.
But guys are in a transfer portal, still need to get in front of college coaches.
Right.
Uncommitted 2023s. There's some college red shirts that don't have a home yet.
Right.
And so that combine we have on the 12th in Seguin is going to be really important because we're wrapping up.
Right.
We're mid-July.
Right.
Guys report to their
mid-June.
Well.
Yeah. Whoa.
July the 12th.
Right. Oh yeah.
Is when we have the event.
Right.
And so guys are going to report to their campuses first or second week in August.
Yeah.
Like the door's closing.
Right,
we will post that flyer for the July 12th combine on yours and on our website.
And I always share it. And then Marcus too, and he has the Instagram page. So and then we try to share as much info on Twitter as well too. So but yeah, Coach, I want to thank you for coming out and sharing. This is real good information for players and parents, and and this is something this is stuff we want to do also. You know, like I said, we might know some recruiting stuff, but we don't know everything, and this is what we want to do and get out
for sure.
And this is a very informative, you know. And like I said, we're gonna have this out on a YouTube also, and we'll post a link out there, and hopefully this will help out some young adults, young men.
And if you ever want to do anything specific about the transfer portal or, you know, the cost of education, there's all kinds of stuff we can do to help parents stay informed about what's going on. I'd love to come back if you guys ever needed anybody or whatever.
No, I appreciate it. And like guys, like he said, Coach Perez, you know, recruiting, you know, gave you some do's and don'ts. He told you, you know, your skill sets, your games, and, you know, there's some important info in there. So if you're listening, you're watching, you know, there it is right there, you know. So I want to thank you, Coach Perez, for coming out. And,
thank you so much.
Once again, we want to thank Sandra Morales and Myris for having us here. Of course, they're going to be BSN Sports now, and come out and support they're having a big retail sale. Tomorrow's 50% off, and other than that, you know, we're going to wrap it up. And once again, thank you, sir. And we'll see you all next time. Thank you all for tuning in.
Thanks.
Bye.